Hey guys, King of Charmanders here, and today I bring to you the best Thunder Elemental builds for all weapon types, as of Curse of the Wandering Flame. So for our latest update, we're going to analyze the best Thunder Elemental builds, and this video will cover builds for both melee and ranged. And Thunder is one of the most flexible elements in the game. Thunder Element 5 was really accessible in the beginning, and to this day it has, and it arguably has probably the most, or if not the most, options you have to build Thunder Attack 5 or the new meta like Critical Element. First, we're going to take a look at the top Thunder Element monster base damage comparison. So here are the current elemental monster archetypes in the game, and we're going to compare them all. We have Rajang, Zinogre, Kezu, Sisiaku, and Tobikadachi. Now, as you see per the data, Rajang and Zinogre are super close to each other in terms of damage with less than a 1% difference. Or if you want to get really picky, it's 0.96% to be exact. On the other hand, Kezu, Sisiaku, and Tobikadachi are great budget options. So if you look at the overall difference, it's literally from the top it's 7%, which isn't a lot unless you're trying to slay something huge, but it matters for like when you full build, etc. So again, definitely you want to go over after either Rajang or Zinogre weapons if you're looking to get the best Thunder for the game. And for this video, we will be using Zinogre weapons for the builds, as Rajang weapons have their own special equipment skill per weapon type. It's very, there's a lot of data you can make out for the Rajang weapons, but specifically we're going to look at Zinogre here just because it's easier to do so. And again, Rajang, each and every weapon type has a different scenario. For Rajang anyways. Next, we move on to the top Thunder melee builds comparison. As you see here, we have the top melee elemental builds. And the top build will use Critical Element. However, the alternate build that doesn't use the Carnival 2024 mail is only 0.55% weaker than the top build. So not only is Thunder flexible, but it also has a lot of powerful pieces you can put in place thanks to the flexibility of Thunder. And again, 0.55% is barely a difference. So if you don't have the Carnival mail, Thunder barely affected. And if you don't have either Critical Element, etc., or any Critical Element equipment, Elemental Attack level 5 build works just fine if you don't want to invest in Critical Element. If you look right here, it's only 2.42%. Not an enormous difference. Speaking of differences, we're going to start off with the melee builds. With number 1, the best Thunder melee build that uses a combination of Critical Element and Critical Boost. And this build does a practical theoretical damage of 3,807. However, this does require the Carnival 2024 mail to provide lock-on. So it requires the pay-to-win ticket, however you want to call it. It's not really pay-to-win, but yeah, you need that piece in order to use this build. And it provides 50% affinity when attacking weak spots and 30% when you aren't. To use this build, you need a Thunder weapon or the Zinogre Sword and Shield at grade 8 or grade 10 or as high as you can get it. The Silver Rathalos helmet at grade 8. The Carnival 2024 mail at grade 8. The Azure Rathalos Van Braces at grade 6. The Pink Wrathing Coil at grade 6. And the Silver Rathalos Greaves at grade 8. For the next build, we have the best Thunder melee build at number 2, which uses a combination of Critical Element and Burst. And this build does a practical theoretical damage of 3,786. Barely a difference from the number 1 build. So if you don't have the Carnival 2024 mail, it really doesn't matter. You're barely going to notice the difference, if not notice the difference at all, between these two builds if you use one versus the other. As this requires the Rathian Van Braces to provide lock-on. And still provides 50% affinity when attacking weak spots, and 30% when you aren't. To use this build, you need any Thunder weapon or the Zinogre Sword and Shield or whatever else at grade 8 or grade 10 or as high as you can get it. The Silver Rathalos helmet at grade 8. The Odogaron mail at grade 6. Rathian Van Braces at grade 6. Pink Wrathing Coil at grade 6. And the Silver Rathalos Greaves at grade 8. Last but not least, we have the best Thunder melee build at number 3, which uses Burst and Elemental Attack level 5. And this build does a practical theoretical damage of 3,715. However, you do need the Rathian Van Braces to provide lock-on. And it also provides 15% affinity. This build still works. If you'll notice, if you compare it to the top build, there's really not much of a difference. This still can really work for you if you have the Thunder Attack level 5 pieces. You don't have to worry too much about it. Alright? So, to use this build, you need the Zinogre weapons or Zinogre Sword and Shield, or whichever melee weapon you want at grade 8 to grade 10 or as high as you can get it. the Ciciaku helmet at grade 6, Odogaron mail at grade 6, Rothian Van Braces at grade 6, Tobikadachi coil at grade 6, and the Zenogre Greaves at grade 6. And now that we're done with melee, we moved on to range, starting off with a bow, and here's the top Thunder bow builds comparison. The first build will use elemental attack level 5, which is possible thanks to Rajang coil, and the second build uses the universal critical element build. So if you look at the difference between both though, both builds work just fine with a small damage difference of 6.72%. So if you don't want to keep or invest into elemental attack gear, you can use the critical element build, which you can use for all elements. And again, 6.72% is very small. You won't notice too much of a difference if you're testing them side by side. This brings us to the best Thunder bow build at number 1, which the build uses elemental attack level 5. And this build does a practical theoretical damage of 4,270. The thing is, while this is stronger than the critical element build, it requires elemental attack level 5 full sets for the rest of the elemental attacks. So you need fire attack level 5, you need water attack level 5, thunder attack level 5, ice attack level 5, and dragon attack level 5. So you need to have all these other pieces for the rest of the other elemental attacks. While it's the critical element one, you can use it for everything. But if you already have this one, you've been playing for a while, and before critical element released, you have these pieces. To use this build, you need the Zenogre bow or whatever Thunder bow you have at grade 8 or grade 10 or as high as you can get it. The Ciciaku helmet at grade 6. The Nightshade Palumu mail at grade 8. The Zenogre Van Braces at grade 6. The Rajang coil at grade 8. And the Zenogre Greaves at grade 6. Moving on, we have the best Thunder bow build number 2. And this build uses critical element with critical boost. And this build does a practical theoretical damage of 3,983. This is barely weaker than the elemental attack level 5 build and can be universally used for the other elemental attacks. So the benefit of this, you just have to build one build for every element, versus having to build, like I mentioned before, separate sets for every single element. However, to use this build, you need the Zenogre bow at grade 8 or grade 10 or whatever elemental bow, thunder bow you have at max or as high as you can get it. The Silver Rathalos helmet at grade 8, the Nightshade Palumu mail at grade 8, the Azarathalos Van Braces at grade 6, the Rajang coil at grade 8, and the Silver Rathalos Greaves at grade 8. Moving on to the next ranged weapon, we have the top Thunder Light Bowgun builds comparison. So as you take a look right here, the best build will use Weakness, Exploit, and Critical Element. That's when you take out all the other conditional skills like Latent Power / Fighting Spirit. But it's a little weird because this entire build has Weakness, Exploit 3 and Critical Element level 1. And the thing about it is just for Light Bowgun, Reload Speed 3 and Recoil Down Level 3 is a stand for Light Bowgun, which really limits your options as far as how powerful Light Bowgun can be. But if you take a look right here, it's still pretty dang strong. And this brings us to the best Thunder Light Bowgun build, which uses Elemental Attack level 4, and has a practical theoretical damage of 3,504. And as with all Light Bowguns, this build provides Reload Speed level 3 and Recoil Down level 3, which is the standard. You also get 30% affinity when you attack a monster's weak spot. To use this build, you need the Zenogre or Thunder Light Bowgun at grade 8 or grade 10 or as high as you can get it, the Coral Puke helmet at grade 8, the Palumu mail at grade 6, Legiana Van Braces at grade 6, the Coral Puke coil at grade 6, and the Silver Rathalos Greaves at grade 8. And now that we covered the Light Bowgun, we now have the Heavy Bowgun, and here we compare the top Heavy Bowgun builds for Thunder. As we see, the top builds are filled with conditional skills like Latent Power / Fighting Spirit. And the top build is really awkward as it uses the Silver Rathalos Greaves for Critical Element level 1 and Weakness Exploit level 1. So it is a very strange build. You also have Elemental Attack level 4. So it is a really awkward combination. But it is the best one, again, when you don't take conditional skills into consideration. And this brings us to the best Thunder Heavy Bowgun build, where it uses Elemental Attack level 4, and a practical theoretical damage of 3,758. With the sweet spot for the Zenogre Heavy Bowgun is Reload Speed level 3 and Recoil Down level 1. This is the same for the Rajang Heavy Bowgun, so I'm guessing you could use this build for that one as well, but is insanely awkward because you have Critical Element along with Elemental Attack. But it is the best one, and your consistent shots are going to be amazing because of the Spread Thunder ammo. To use this build, you need the Thunder Heavy Bowgun or any Thunder Heavy Bowgun at grade 8 or grade 10 or as high as you can get it. The Sisiaku helmet at grade 6. The Kezumel at grade 6. The Legion of Embraces at grade 6. Coral Puke Puke Coil at grade 6. And the Silver Athos Greaves at grade 8. Ah yes, Thunder, Clap, and Flash. That's the perfect scene to bring back because we are talking about Thunder. And hopefully this video helps you swiftly decide what Thunder build to go after. Elemental Attack level 5 is perfectly fine to use if you don't want to invest in Critical Element. You're probably going after that gear right now, and if you don't have enough plates or whatnot, don't worry about it. The Elemental Attack level 5 gear is still really accessible, and you can use that in place of Critical Element. With that being said, please do me a huge favor, like, subscribe, and comment for the YouTube algorithm. Good luck on your grinds. Hopefully y'all are doing amazing. Thank you for all the patience with me uploading content because I finally have my voice back, etc. And I'm refreshed and ready to create content again. Good luck on your grinds, and I will see y'all on the next video.